Hello, everyone. Jak Syn here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze, and today it is another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today we're sitting with Ben Woods, accomplished flamenco and metal guitarist and rising YouTube star. How you doing today, Ben?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on your program.
Well, thank you for being here. I know with everything going on right now and the craziness in the world, we're dealing with the pandemic, and we're dealing with some uncertainty around every corner. But I gotta say, it's a nice sunny day outside. Even though it's hot, it's really hot today, hotter than most days, but it's still a nice day, I'd say.
Things could be much worse, I think, for us here. I mean, we're in Southern California. It's not
Yes,
that bad.
yeah, we are. We are. We have palm trees outside of our windows. Isn't that crazy?
I love it. I can smell the sea air from here. It's not that bad.
Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. To everybody out there, go outside, take a whiff of the nice fresh air, enjoy it. It's all around us. And you know what? It's free.
For now.
Exactly. For now, it's free. So today we're going to ask you a couple of questions and see where it goes from here. Are you ready to get into it?
Let's go.
All right. What are three of your most memorable moments from a musical career?
Well, one of them was for sure playing in my hometown of Seattle, Washington. And kind of going back there after I was raised there and I learned metal and flamenco guitar there, moved to San Francisco area, moved to Los Angeles, worked with everybody, did a lot of touring and stuff, and then I got to go back to Seattle and play in front of all my friends and my family and my teachers even at this really cool little theater, a little jukebox theater called the Jewel Box Rendezvous in Seattle, and I played this solo show where I just stood up and I played guitar and I walked around and then I drank cognac and told jokes and did kind of like a comedy routine in between because I just didn't want it to get uncomfortable. So I had memorized a few funny things to say and then I realized that fuck, I'm kind of a ham, and I just started riffing off of that. That was probably the most memorable, but also, and there's just been so many. I mean, playing on the Monsters Rock cruises, for instance, there's like 40, 50 bands. They're all like butt rock bands from the 80s and early 90s. And then what the hell am I doing there? And I'm playing like Dio and Ozzy Osbourne and Iron Maiden, but on flamenco guitar. And some of the shows, Arlene would join us flamenco dancing, and some of these cruises we had a cajon player and my other guitar partner, Luis Villegas, and we would do all these old school metal tunes, and we're like on a floating rock festival, basically. And it would have been cool to just go and be on the thing, but we're actually one of the artists, so we've got all these cool, balcony cabins and privileges and all this great hospitality and beer and food and wine and stuff before every show. And we were playing like a show every single day out of the 5 days, so we had, I mean, whatever I asked for, and I always asked for like a couple half racks of beer. So every day we just brought our backpacks and then just packed up our hospitality at the end of the gig because there's no way we could drink all that much alcohol as you're playing. And then we'd be set for the rest of the night and the rest of the next day until the gig at night, you know. And then let's see, this the third one. I don't know. I would have to say the third one would be touring Europe. I toured Europe with this Dutch guy named Thomas Fysen 4 years in a row, from 2015 to 19, and we got a van from our guitar endorsement company, Ortega Guitars. They just let us use it as long as we put gas in it, and it was just me and him, and we just drove around pretty much every country in Europe. hitting rock clubs and playing them every night. And we pretty much went everywhere. I mean, and we did that 4 years in a row. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I got to see not just what you would see in a tour bus or on a plane, but we're actually taking turns driving and going through, back roads and farm roads and what the fuck? This road just ended in the middle of Romania and we are kind of stuck. What the hell do we do? And let's go see that castle. Let's go see this castle. And they turned into castle tours. And every time we'd see one off the side of the road, we'd just stop and like, oh, well, we gotta fucking go there. That's just too fucking cool. Let's take some pictures. And yeah, this is fucking awesome, And so those are my three most memorable moments, I think.
Oh, those are some pretty memorable moments. Being able to go through Europe, traveling through the countryside, just kind of bouncing around. I'm sure that was just amazing. And then, like you were saying, you were going to just hitting up different rock clubs. Like, you didn't schedule any shows ahead of time. You just showed up.
Oh no, we did. Oh yeah, of course. I mean, luckily they were all packed. Oh. And but Thomas, he has played at most of them. He did all the scheduling and the tour planning because he's played at most of them with ex-singer of Iron Maiden. His name is Blaze Bayley, and so he would tour all around Europe with him also in a different part of the year on another season. So he had the contacts over all the rock clubs and every place. And what I did is I did all the web design and the CD design and stuff like that. So when we got the dates booked, I could help make posters and get the promotion thing happening. And so it was a pretty good partnership, I'd say. Yeah,
that's pretty rad. I mean, one hand
was
wash
awesome.
the other. I mean, that's great. You're also talking about that you were on the Monsters of Rock boat tour, and that's pretty rad. I mean, being on a cruise ship like that with all of these other amazing acts, being able to do shows like 5 nights in a row. I mean, I'm sure that was just a once in a lifetime experience, And you did that for how many years?
Well, we did it since the very first one, which was 2012. And we've done it for every year since, actually. And this last one, I took Arlene with me, but it was just me playing solo guitar on that one. So it was interesting because I usually had other people with me. But this time they put me in sort of like they called it the schooner bar. And it was like a fisherman's bar somewhere in the middle of the boat, not like at the big pool stage or anything. And so I set up like right next to the grand piano where I'm sure many Jimmy Buffett tunes were played. And I started playing, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden stuff. And that was really, really fun. Yeah, I can't say enough about those Monsters of Rock cruises. They also have other cruises as well. Like there's the 70,000 tons of metal cruises, those are pretty much all death metal bands. So I've been trying to get on those too, but yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm not sure, but there might be someone in the production that might think like acoustic or flamenco guitar is a little bit too lame or whatever. But for me, it's totally just like acoustic speed metal. It's just as aggressive and fast. So I think it's a perfect fit. But whatever. I can't listen to death metal only for 5 days and nights in a row anyways, although I love it. But
well, hey, to everybody out there right here, you heard it right here from Ben, right here. You know what I mean? He's trying to get on this death metal cruise. So, if anybody out there who's watching this video, try to make it happen, whatever you got to do. And you know what? It's time you do that Monsters of Rock cruise. Be sure to pack Evie and I in your luggage and take us with you, because that sounds pretty rad.
I think you guys would really enjoy it.
Oh, we would totally enjoy it.
And with the rise, if I could say, the rising stardom of synthwave, I see no reason why there can't be a synthwave cruise. Literally, can you imagine? You
were exactly right. I mean, I'd give it another year or so. I mean, maybe we'll see that happen. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
It's the perfect setting, honestly. It is. There's bars everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's stages everywhere. If you have the right production crew putting it on, we're really lucky to be affiliated with these guys, you know.
Yeah.
Because they're the same guys that put on like Def Leppard and Poison shows and stuff. So there's like huge lighting rigs, and you know, it's all very professional.
That's freaking rad, you know, and it'll happen. It'll happen. I have
Oh,
faith
for
that it'll
sure.
happen. And you know what? When you're out there, surrounded by water, you have a captive audience because there's nowhere for them to run.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a lot of fun on the high seas. If C stands for cocktail.
I like that. I love that. I love that. What would you say is your favorite album slash EP that you've ever worked on?
Well, I would have to say that it's back in what 2016. I created an album. It was a double album called Heavy Mellow, volumes 1 and 2, and that was the name. It is the name of my little flamenco metal trio. It's called Heavy Mellow, and we do all the metal classics, but with two guitars and flamenco percussion, the cajon. And basically, I just picked all my favorite heavy metal songs that had melodic vocals, and then I did instrumental versions of them. And I'm really, really proud of that album because it's basically all my favorite songs. And I would have liked to add some death metal songs in there too, but without the melodic vocals, how do you, you know, you can't just on the guitar just go da 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 da. Like if I was to do deicide vocals, I mean, the whole song would just be one note. It would just not.
You're bringing a synthesizer in there.
That's right. That's right. The melodic vocal lines of like Ronnie James Dio and Bruce Dickinson and these guys, it really makes for a good instrumental music, you know. And speaking of synthwave today, earlier today I was I know I'm weird. I was watching some seriously old '80s Saturday morning cartoons, and there's this cartoon series. I don't know if you remember it, but it was called Mask.
Yes, I do. I
And
remember.
they had like a Pontiac Firebird, and the doors would go up like this and then come out, and there'd be wings, and he would take off, and it'd be like a flying car, and you know it was awesome. But I remember watching it this morning. I was like, this fucking theme song is fucking rad. Like this could have been a hit if it was done by any artist in the 80s, you know? And then I was thinking, God, this would be a really good synthwave song done like instrumentally, because the melodies are just they're outstanding. And then the fact that it came from the cartoon Mask is just it's just a really fucking cool cartoon.
Well, you know what? I agree with you on that one. I think that, you know, who knows? Maybe somebody has attempted it. I'll have to take a look through SoundCloud. If I find it, I'll definitely have to send it to you.
Love
But
to hear it.
I think that that's really rad that, you know, you decided to go with heavy mellow. You decided to take these amazing like metal songs and like turn them into something a little bit more, I guess you could say, yeah, you're right, mellow, you know what I mean? But very instrumental, very feeling oriented, you know that? I think that's some great stuff.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's like I don't know. The flamenco guitar's got a lot of aggressiveness. It's got a lot of virtuosity. There's a lot of shredding going on. So it kind of marries with that 80s metal style, like chocolate and peanut butter a little bit. It's kind of like taking a trip down on a elevator. It's the music that you would hear, you know, because it's a little bit like, yeah, elevator music to hell.
There you go. That
Exactly.
sounds pretty good. I mean, elevator music to hell. I mean, you know, heading down and just bobbing your head a little bit, bobbing your head. Hey, I
Yeah,
like the song. It sounds very familiar. Oh, it's heavy mellow.
yeah, yeah.
So everybody out there, be sure to check that album out.
I have that album, Heavy Mellow, Volume 1 and 2, and even the third volume streaming for free on YouTube. And most of my albums I'm uploading to YouTube to stream in their entirety. So if you look up Ben Woods and then write full album, you're going to see a bunch of cool stuff, because it's a new way for artists to make money. Although I believe in Apple Music and Bandcamp and all that, and people buying MP3s or streaming from Pandora and Spotify, I'd much rather have people watching my music through YouTube, because I feel like I can trust, like, the money will come to me, and I trust it a little bit more than coming to me from something like Spotify.
So to everybody out there, check it out. Head over to YouTube. Rack up those views. Show support for the artists out there. Show support for amazing artists like Ben right here, because he's got some really killer stuff out. You definitely want to check that out.
Thank you.
What was the drive behind getting you into making music and performing live?
I had a good friend who was a guitar player when I was about 12 and 13, and he was pretty awesome. And I just kind of wanted to be like him, so he taught me the chords, and eventually I got into his band in junior high. It was called Hit and Run. All right? And we were doing, only serious stuff like Bon Jovi and Kiss, really ridiculous music, but fun. But alas, I still wasn't really good enough, and I didn't have the hair game going on back in junior high. It was kind of like more of a fro game, and image was pretty important back then. My jeans, I had my mom take in my jeans so they were really tight at the ankles and stuff, but it still looked like I had a load in my pants in the butt area. So yeah, the jeans, I didn't quite have the look going on as hard as I tried. I mean, I wanted to get, so I would brush my hair. It was really curly, but I'd brush it all the time, every day, trying to get that feathery thing to go, but it just kind of froed out a little bit more. But that was my first introduction to playing live. I think we played it in our gym one time, and it was, I don't remember much, but I'm sure it was pretty horrible. But I had a great time, and it definitely felt the rush. And I was like, yeah, I definitely want more of that. Got to have more of that rush. Not a single girl came up and talked to me afterwards. That wasn't really the motivation at the time, But yeah, it was being in front of people, playing music, trying to be loud, getting asked to turn down all the time, and having it, getting to use your volume kind of like a weapon. It's all part of the rebellious spirit.
You're exactly right. It is part of the rebellious spirit, and look at where you are now. You know what I mean? Breaking down that barrier between that metal and flamenco music. It's freaking rad, I'll tell you that.
Thanks.
It's kind of funny that you're mentioning, joined a band in high school. I mean, that's sort of the same story here. It's like it's like you start getting together with friends and kind of go, hey, it would be really cool if we joined a band. If we got a band together, it'd be really rad. Start playing some shows. And I remember, us playing our very first show. We practiced for like 4 or 5 months, got everything, down packed. We go to play our first show. And like I said, you did it in a gym. We did it at a community center. And it was almost kind of like a band showcase, battle of the bands kind of thing. But I remember when I got up there on stage, I said something really stupid. My very first, this is to everybody out here, don't judge me on this because I was really young when I said this. The band who went on before us ended up playing a metal cover. And, they did a couple songs, and after they were over, we went up and we're like, yeah, great job, this and that, and get up there. And I said in the mic, like a dumb idiot, I said, hey, we're Death Diary. We don't need to play covers to be popular. And we started playing.
That's awesome.
So after that was over, I ran off the stage, ran to the bathroom, was going to feel like I was going to throw up, came back out. Everybody had such a great time. People were clapping and the whole thing. But then after I was done, I walked up to the band immediately, was like, I'm so sorry I said that. I don't know what came over me. we all make mistakes. It's a learning experience, as we go along. And
Oh, for sure.
it's so funny that you're mentioning the thing about taking in your jeans, your mother taking your jeans in. Like, that was one of the things too. Except for me, I cut my jeans on the bottom sides to make it fan out over the shoe.
Oh, get a
Yeah,
little flare
get a little
going, huh?
flare.
Yeah,
I like that.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't be too embarrassed what you say on the mic. I mean, there is a weird thing, at least that happens to me, as soon as if there's an audience out there, and as soon as I start talking on the mic, I have no idea what I'm going to say past hello, and but something happens, and I don't know. I must really enjoy the sound of my own voice amplified, and but I always tend to go into some kind of stupid comedy routine, even if it's at the price of members of my band. Like I used to always, run over the drummer with the bus every time, but we all laughed and it was fun. As long as people are out there laughing. If you make a joke and it's just crickets, then yeah, shut up and just play.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, it's that ham mentality. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Hamming it up.
big time.
I love to ham it up. I do. I do. You give me a microphone, I feel the same way as you. It's like, don't give me a microphone. If you don't want me to like ham it up, don't give me a microphone.
Agreed.
What are you looking forward to accomplishing the most moving forward?
I would like to be able to share not just my art with the world, but also maybe expose them to the complexity of flamenco guitar. Now, I don't mean just flamenco, because that is a whole world unto itself, and it's a culture, and it involves singing and dance and guitar and percussion and years of history and culture, and that's not what I'm talking about. That's beautiful and I love it, but the flamenco guitar itself, I don't know if there's quite enough exposure, and I'd like to expose it to other people that love guitar of other genres. And I think that they're going to find out that, wow, this is a beautiful instrument. It's not a grandpa guitar like people, or maybe the youngins, have been calling it lately. It's not a grandpa guitar. It's actually a guitar built for shredding, even more so than Ibanez's and stuff like that. People were shredding on this stuff 100 years ago, and it's awesome. So I'm using sort of flamenco and metal, which I love just as much, kind of as a vehicle to kind of spread the word that, hey man, flamenco guitar is this awesome instrument, and you can shred on it, and you can do everything on it. You can use pedals. Hell, I've even built my own guitars where you can use distortion, like these things right here. I call them Nylocasters. There's no pickups. These are nylon strings, and you can put distortion or all kinds of pedals on them, or you just play them clean, and it sounds just like an acoustic guitar. So I feel like there's just not enough exposure in the world yet. It's a real small niche, or niche, or however you say it, I don't know. But I feel like it could get a lot bigger.
That is a really good goal, like exposing this smaller niche, if you will, to a larger audience, because it is a very interesting subject. You know what I mean? Like diving into the knowledge behind all of this. I mean, I guess when people hear the word flamenco, they may think of it in different terms, or think of it as, oh, well, this probably isn't for me, or this seems like a whole cultural thing that's not, that probably wouldn't be interesting to me whatsoever. But it's deeper than that. It's a lot deeper than that. And you can explore this type of music in any way that you see fit, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Another thing you were talking about, Nylocaster. It's like, that's freaking amazing. Can you show that to us one more time?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about Nylocaster.
I just broke a string on it, but yeah, basically it's a Stratocaster guitar, but instead of having magnetic pickups here with steel strings and the pickups pick up the vibration of the steel strings, The pickup is actually in the bridge here, and this is a special piezo bridge that is a proprietary bridge made just for the Nylocaster, and it picks up the vibration of the nylon strings, and it sounds acoustic. So you have all the modern technology of an electric guitar, so you got better tuning stability. Well, it fucking looks way cooler, that's for sure. It's easier to play. It's easier to play standing up, but also I can make all kinds of adjustments like the string height, the action, the intonation. You can't do that on a Spanish guitar because the design is like 2.5 centuries old, and you just can't make adjustments easily or at all like that. With these, I can just take an Allen wrench in 2 seconds in between songs. Even I'll just take an Allen wrench, just make a quick adjustment. Bam, I'm good to go. It's got a truss rod, so I can get the angle of the neck different. Right here, there's a hole for the truss rod. This one is like a wider neck, so it's good for the classical players. I mean, there's no like when you plug in a Spanish guitar, if it has a pickup in it, it always has a preamp and a battery. You can't leave it plugged in overnight, it'll drain the battery. This one is passive, so there's no preamp. It just sounds badass, like, right, and I just leave it plugged in. What the hell? So I just made this thing out of necessity for me, because that's what I needed to play the bigger stages, because it doesn't feed back, and I can use my pedals for reverb or whatever, and it was more comfortable than whatever was out there on the market. There's nothing like that out there. So I just made one for me, and I thought, well, fuck. I mean, it took like over a year of prototyping, and I finally got it. I was like, shit, I think I want to make another one. I want another. And then once I had 4 or 5 of them for myself, I thought, well, I think I could make some more and maybe sell these things. And that's what I started doing. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, I also have, you want to get sort of guitar nerdy. Well, you have no choice. I'm going to get guitar nerdy on you, okay? This is one of my signature flamenco guitars, and it has a reversed headstock like an old 80s shredder style guitar. There's no flamenco guitars that have that. I designed this thing, and this is like a weird little, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little extra piece of wood here, so it's beveled. There's no grandpa guitars that have the bevel in there, or the sharp Florentine cutaway and stuff. This is all modern shit because I wanted to play flamenco and metal. I wanted to shred, and I needed to do it on bigger stages that I was playing. And the old school stuff, it works great, but it's ancient technology, and they're just not embracing all this new stuff. And I thought, well, if no one's going to do it, I better do it. So I did it, and I didn't ever planned on having my own guitars or being a CEO of a guitar company or anything. It just kind of is one of the things that I do now.
That's very ingenious of you. Necessity is the mother of invention, right there. You start to you develop these things, for yourself, and then all of a sudden you decided, maybe other people would like these. Maybe other people could get use out of these things. I mean, where could somebody go to pick one of these things up?
Oh, well, let me tell you, if you really want to know, you can go to my website, which is nylocaster.com, to find out more information about these. Not just the models or whatever, but I got tons of videos and stuff. And then as far as these guitars, they're for sale at Guitar Center or Musician's Friend. You could just go online and type in Ben Woods, and you'll see that I have 4 different models of those. And that's how you find out about them. And, honestly, I made them for me, but also with these Nylocasters, they're so much easier to play than the acoustic guitars of any kind, because they're like a Fender Stratocaster. It's super easy to play. And one of the reasons why I did that is because I have a couple of friends that have developed hand injuries. Classical and flamenco guitar is very demanding on your hands, and there's things that my friends have developed, like a thing called focal dystonia, or there's gout and arthritis. There's a tennis elbow. All kinds of weird shit can happen to you. You know, as you start really hunkering down and getting into this.
Yeah, like
Yeah, exactly. I'm fortunate that I have never had a hand injury, you know, and but I never will because I made these. I started seeing some weird shit happening with my own hand, and before I let it get out of control, I started playing on these and changing up my technique a little bit, and I don't have to worry anymore. So part of the reason why these even came to be is for people that have developed injuries. So it's easier for them to pretty much get their point across and make music and share their art. I mean, that's all we want to do, right?
you're exactly right. And if there's an easier way to do that, something that's really creative, if there's an easier way to do that, then by all means, I'm all about that. And I know a lot of people out there are all about that as well. So everybody out there, check out Nylocaster. You know what I mean? Head on over.
Thank
If you are interested in these type of guitars, definitely check them out. And with everything on the website, with everything there, they have instructional videos on how to and all that kind of stuff, so you get familiar with the actual instrument itself. I have not personally had the chance to play one of these things, but I know now after you showing me what you did with these guitars, I would love to put one in my hand and take a crack at it.
Anytime, man. Anytime. I've got a bunch of them.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
What positive message would you give your fans out there?
I do like being all about positivity, that's for sure. You know, I would like to say that, have you ever heard of the law of attraction?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yeah, all right. Well, I sort of, let me tell you this story. Can I tell you just a little bit of story?
Elaborate.
I did it. I was doing a show about 10 years ago at like a Borders Books and Music. I guess it's not really a show if you're playing in a bookstore. You know, you're just fucking whatever. It was a while ago. This guy came. Turned out he talked to me. He said, "I'm a life coach. I love what you're doing. I'd love to give you some free life coaching. Let's just go to lunch one day. You pay for the lunch and I'll just hit you with my techniques." So we did that. That was about 6 years ago. Before that, didn't have a whole lot of rad stuff going on. Some rad stuff, but not as much as now. And so he hit me with some of these techniques. A lot of it was the law of attraction. And a lot of it is like positive mindset and making goals and not doing affirmations like looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, "I am good enough." And not like that. It wasn't. That's a little bit cheesy or whatever. I guess it works, but just sort of thinking about what you want, having it on the tip of your tongue and the tip of your brain at all times, being grateful. And he taught. I guess the thing that I want to tell anybody is that with a little effort, you can make that weird, impossible dream happen. Because I'm kind of doing it right now. And my dream was make a living from playing guitar, but not having to depend on anyone else, being my own boss, and having checks come in the mail. And that's basically exactly what is happening right now. So I'm very fortunate, but I put a lot of work into it, and it's all thanks to this guy who taught me the techniques, which is basically, I'd like to tell you how I did it. You're supposed to feel as if you're already living that dream, or you already have what you want or whatever, which is a weird fucking concept. You know, how am I supposed to feel or get emotional about, like, yeah, so then, but I'm like, okay, well, I love Amazon Prime. I love to just buy shit. I hate shopping, but I love to buy shit online. And I hit that cart button. Fuck yeah, purchase that. And that's exactly how I think of it. Like, I put it in my cart, whatever my dream is, and then I hit the purchase button. And guess what? It's already mine. I know I have it. I got it. That motherfucking guitar is mine. I bought it. I don't know exactly when it's going to come, but I know it's coming. I know it's on the way, and that's kind of how I think about like goals that I have, and it fucking works, man. It's like magic. So, and when it started working after that first summer or whatever, I was like, this is like some Lord of the Rings shit right here. This is like some Harry Potter magic that I haven't even known about because it started working. And it started working more and more. And if I kept believing in it like it was some Harry Potter stuff, it's bound to work even more. And if I was like all analytical about it and too, real about it, I don't think it would have worked nearly as well. And that's all I have to say to fans. Like, put in your order and fucking purchase that shit and know that it's yours. It's gonna come.
You're right. You're right. The law of attraction is real. I know. We've been going down this road with the law of attraction here, and just living that life that you want. Just really living that life, like living it now, even though you don't actually physically have it at that moment. You living your dreams. You like whatever you visualize yourself living that life right now, today. That will help you along that road. Because if you visualize what you want and you visualize yourself having it now, you can achieve great things because you're already in that positive mindset. You're already in that mindset of, I am open to receiving the abundance from the universe. I am open to receiving that. I am going to put in the work as hard as I can. It's going to come to me no matter what, because my hard work is going to make sure that it does happen.
You are absolutely right. Absolutely right. And the funny thing is yeah, remaining positive about the whole thing is kind of like the engine that drives it. And I remember I was trying to tell my mom this, and she's like, but how can you be positive when all you watch is horror movies? You listen to all this satanic metal all the time, and everything is about killing people and there's blood and gore and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's fun, right? That's so fun. It's part of what makes me happy. And that's how I stay positive, because I love listening to music about killing people because it's better than actually killing people. But I sure do think about it all the time because people are annoying.
Well, I mean, it's that thing of like, why do people love horror movies so much? I mean, I think it goes. It's like, why do I like zombie movies so much, right? Why do I like that? I love the what if scenarios, right? It's always this guilty pleasure of the what if scenario, right? But also too, I can really appreciate how much work goes into creating these type of effects. You go back and you look at one of George Romero's great films, Day of the Dead. To everybody
Love
out
it.
there, if you've ever seen the movie Day of the Dead, you know what I'm talking about.
One of the longest zombie movies ever.
Yeah. So you go back to Day of the Dead and you watch that movie. You can really appreciate the amount of work that went into, creating the zombies, the amount of work that went into creating the amazing death scenes of the soldiers when the zombies rip them apart. You got to go, oh my God, I can't believe this was done with like latex and makeup and all this crazy stuff. I think it's appreciating the artistry behind it. Now, me personally, I'm not with the gore video stuff and like all of the real life, killing things like that.
Oh no,
I'm
no, I
not
don't
with
want to
any of
see.
that.
I
I
don't
don't
want
want
to
to see
see
that
the
kind of.
real
There's some
thing.
people out there
No.
who do enjoy that, but no. That's not that. But it's like I do love the zombies and the monsters and the the horror, the scary, like what's the creek around the corner, and why does that thing have such large teeth? Those kinds of things. I love going to like Halloween horror nights, and I mean, we were at Dark
Yeah.
Harbor this last October here in Long
Uh,
Beach.
yeah. It's all part. It's all a part of fantasy and fun.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's dark
yeah,
for sure, and it can get gory, but we know that it's not real, and it's actually it's high art.
Yeah.
but you know, for those that can appreciate it.
But at its core, you know what? More than anything, it's creativity. It's
Right.
artists creating something amazing. You know,
Yeah.
if it's not makeup and special effects, it's music, or it's writing, or it's, directing, producing, something, anything. It's a little, sculpting a little clay figure. I mean, that's creativity right there.
Oh,
Or making a
absolutely.
YouTube video about, what you want to talk about. It's all creativity. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's important. So to everybody out there, right here, wise words from Ben right here. Wise words, everybody. The
Well, hopefully
law of
we can.
attraction.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if we can all keep creating, build a bigger, better world, right? And then, I mean, we can create around the themes of destruction without actually having to destroy anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where some of the shit that's happening these days, I'm not getting into it, but it's very destructive.
Yeah.
I'm not in it. I'm not into it at all. So if everybody could be more creative and actually, my father had a big impact on me, even though he was a basketball coach and I had no talent at sports at all. Poor guy. Still feel really bad for him because I was must have been such a disappointment in that area. But he told me that every day you got to be productive. And I took that as, well, that means I need to produce something, you know? And I it instilled in me a huge work ethic, so much so that I can't stop myself from producing. Shit, man, I've made over 22 albums now. And I think I still have a lot in me. I still have a lot to say. And I think everybody does if they can just get in the cycle of producing and being creative, you know. It's just, you just got to put those shoes on again and get going with it, you know. If you haven't put them on for a while, it's a little uncomfortable at first, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think right now, with everything going on in the world, and I like to call it the great pause. With the great pause, it has really helped a lot of people to rediscover or discover their creative side. Because a lot of people would say, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that, I don't know how to be creative. Well, when you have a lot of time on your hands, you will find ways to be creative. You will find ways to be creative because
Absolutely.
anybody can create. You just got to work at it.
I totally agree. And hey, going vegetarian recently, not by choice, but I have learned to embrace it, has been a very creative process as well because cooking can be kind of amazing for that. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm exploring all of my creativity with it, but but it's been very interesting and very fun.
Oh, I'm sure. I know when we first went vegan, it was like, what do you do? What do you do? I can't use cheese in this, or I can't use, milk or eggs in this, or butter, But you, it's that sink or swim mentality. You're not going to starve, so you're going to get creative. So it's like, and now here we are, years later, creative, know how to cook well, know how to be ingenious in the kitchen, in different ways, Like we were talking about, necessity is the mother of invention. I
I
also like
know
to think necessity is the mother of creativity.
it has to be. I mean, it's not like we're gonna miss out on tacos.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. Not in my lifetime. Hell no.
Well, thank you so much for taking this time to sit down and have this interview today, Ben. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today to watch us have this conversation. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our Tour Fiend YouTube channel as we have many more rad artist interviews on the way. So thank you so much, Ben, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.
It was an honor. It's my pleasure, John. Really appreciate it. Good luck with everything, brother.